Here we go. Welcome, everyone. My name is Nicolette, and I am moderating today's call. It's a joy. I've already seen some of you. It's your first time here. It's always good to have those of you who are just kind of finding us from the fringes, making your way in to explore what we're up to. We love it. These community calls are so wonderful because they really bring everyone together. And I found them such a great sense of support and a sense of practice community in a time where they can feel like there's a lot of chaos. So I really find it grounding. And I think that a lot of you do. That's why you keep returning. So these are 90-minute calls. We do a Q&A where John offers support to people for about an hour. And then we go into a theme for a practice and a teaching. And today's theme is changing karmic patterns. We love having you on video. We will make this public unabashedly on our YouTube and also on our virtual workshop. And then we also sometimes post clips on our Instagram. So if you're not comfortable with visually being on those platforms, it is totally fine. You can be off camera, you can rename yourself. All of that is absolutely fine. Audio only is fine. But I just wanted you to know that if you do ask a question and you're on video, that your question will be on those platforms. You can always request later if you decide that you don't want it to be there. You can raise your hand to ask a question by pushing the raise hand button. And on the new versions of Zoom, that is in the reactions at the bottom of your screen, there's a bar that says raise hand. Just push that and boom, you've raised your hand. And that is how we'll be calling on people today. We're going to start spotlighting people who ask questions because we got a lot of folks here and sometimes it can be hard to see who's asking, and so that it's easy to see John and see the person and what's happening. So I also want to bring that into the fold, that if you're asking a question, we'll be spotlighting you so that we can all see you, and if John's working with you, then we can be able to actually follow along with whatever practice he guides you through. The chat thread. So that is there for logistical questions, is there for connecting, general response. Please don't ask content-based questions for John. And please don't offer unsolicited advice, unsolicited resources, unsolicited coaching. So basically it's a space to support each other. Please be kind, please be compassionate. And if you do think that you have a resource or a source of support that you can offer someone, ask them for permission first if they like it. And if they say yes, then go for it. But otherwise, really, we want to try to keep our attention on the dialogue that's happening. Sometimes that chat thread can kind of go wild and there's like a whole other thing happening over there, and it can take a lot of energetic distraction from actually the deep practice that can sometimes be happening in the dialogue of the space. So try to keep your attention here. Of course, if there's something that inspires you and you want to, oh my gosh, that was incredible, please bring that energy. It's totally fine. This is a free call. We'd appreciate if you would support Claire's Place Foundation as a way of paying it forward. For most of you, you know that Claire was John's daughter who passed away. It was actually her birthday this last weekend. And Claire's Place Foundation is the legacy that really helps to support kids with cystic fibrosis who are still very much suffering during this time, where we're still, battling with COVID, and people with lung issues are even more struggling with this. So they can't even leave their homes. So I will put a link in the chat if you'd be interested in donating. If you have any questions, you can certainly chat with me privately. I'm happy to, support if anything's coming up. I do want to announce now that we're not going to have a call next month. We have a pretty busy month on our side. So we will be back in June. So do not fret, we'll be back in June, but we will not be doing a call in May. And I think that's it. So I'm going to pass it over to John.
Thank you. Thanks, Nicolette. Okay. Take y'all in for a second. Our global community, fine looking bunch y'all are. Thank you, everybody who has supported Claire's Place over the last few months. It really means a lot to me. I've been hearing from Claire's mother, who says that there's all kinds of interesting things that come out of these calls. So thanks so much. I really, really appreciate it. The kids who have CF, you know, obviously COVID really, really messed them up. They can't work, they can't go out. It's pretty rough. The hospital stays are really, really tricky. So it's deeply appreciated on my end. Thank you. And we'll try to make it worth your while. Get your $5-10 worth. All right, this idea of okay. We ready? All right. Okay. This idea of changing your karmic habits. So our karmic habits tend to be, I mean, it's a fucking amalgam of our parents, the epigenetics of our lineage, the culture that we come from, societal pressures, family of origin programming, childhood traumas, some adult traumas. I mean, all of those things that we call, you know, the experiences of our life that we don't necessarily choose, you know, all make up the karma that's stored in our body minds, stored in the way we react when our lover seemingly rejects us, or the way that we react when we feel slighted, or the way that we kind of choose a certain person. Or I mean, I know some of these are probably hitting home for y'all. We all have it. It's just like karma, and we have good karma too. We have great karma too. It's a combination of things, right? Our sort of strengths and weaknesses. And ultimately, what we want to do is this karma. Let me slow down, because I tend to speak like everybody understands these concepts, and I know that's not totally true. So the habits of your body mind, the habits of the way that you relate, the habits of the way that you interact with the world are the reflections, the manifestations of karma. Everybody with me on that one? Just give me like a nod, or, you know, okay. All right. So when we talk about changing karmic patterns, the moment that you choose a different reaction to the one that you've habitually done, let's say you're, you know, your lazy, no good boyfriend is sitting on the couch, you know, again, and hasn't done the dishes. And there's a closure, or there's sort of a karmic reaction, a habitual reaction that happens. Not that any of those guys are on this call. These are all solid dudes, I can tell. So there's a closure that happens, and that closure is your karma. That closure, that look, that sigh, that whatever it is, you throw a dish at them, I mean, whatever the habitual thing is, that's the karmic dime dropping, and the karma getting solidified in your body mind. The moment that you choose, you have an awareness and a capacity to choose a different, more loving, more conscious reaction, your karma changes. Everybody with me? Yeah. So it's in the moments of choosing a different path, of making a more empowered choice, of making a more loving choice, of making a more conscious choice, of feeling beneath the momentum of our habitual thought forms and habitual reactivity. We have that, but beneath that, there's all this energy and all this possibility and all this longing and all this love that wants to be given and all this consciousness that's waiting to be tapped into. And so it requires practice. It requires awareness, a combination. When I say practice, I'm talking about embodied exercises that bring more consciousness and awareness, and more depth of feeling and expression. That's it. Could be yogic, could be movement, could be making a sound, it could be any number of things. It could be taking a different shape with your body. It could be relaxing your shoulders back and your heart open. Could be grounding. Grounding is where you have choice. Grounding's where you have choice. I could just say that over and over again for the rest of the call, and you guys would get grounding is where you have choice at that moment. Okay. All of those are practices because the momentum of our karma is strong. It's strong. That's why we react the same way most of the fucking time. That's why we have the same issues that we had, a few years ago, most of the time. And I know everybody's done their work. So this is different. The yogic and meditative practice is different than therapy. Like, I'm not a trauma therapist. So if you bring me your trauma here, there's not much I can do with it. I'll say, I'm sorry, and we'll try to get you into the yoga. I'll try to get you out of the story where the trauma lives and into the yoga. So I'm working here to kind of get you guys into the practice of changing the karma. And I'm not a trauma person. So if I cut you off or I say, hey, it's enough of the story, it's because that's not my realm. My realm is how do I help you make a different choice? How do I help you get deeper into your body? Okay. I'm not trying to silence you. I'm just trying to take you into what it is that I can help you with. Okay. So with that said, let's take some questions, Nicolette, and let's try to take them in. So the reason why I wanted to give that example about the moment, because those moments are really important. So if you take me into a moment where you close, or a moment on a date where you didn't know what to do, or a moment in your relationship or your sex where something just doesn't quite open, great. That's really, really good. So the more specific we can get, the better.
Okay, Christina, and we're going to start with you. Go ahead and unmute yourself.
Howdy.
Hi, John.
Hello.
I'm so happy to be here and speaking to you. I also just want to say a happy birthday in heaven to your daughter. I saw your really beautiful post, and thank you for sharing that with us. And Claire seemed like an amazing young lady.
She was.
This is a really welcome and timely topic about karma. So I really appreciate this. I wanted to get your guidance on shifting some patterns in my own relationship, seeing how my partner plays things out and also how I contribute to the dynamic. And I'll try to make it very succinct. I've been dating a really lovely man for about 2 years. And he's great. He's a single dad. I know he would do anything for me, but we've struggled a lot with really stupid fights. He deals with a lot of anxiety. He's been on ADD medication ever since he was little. And his identity is really attached to being an anxious person with ADD. And I could use some guidance around handling him when he's angry. He gets triggered really easily, and he can just escalate from 0 to 60. And even over something just really little. And, when he's mad, he's very unreasonable. He'll yell at me, he'll interrupt, he'll repeat himself, and basically I feel it's like emotionally vomiting all over me. And we have conversations about it when he's calmer, but when he's back in that moment, it just seems to happen again. And I really resonate with you speaking about closure, because my response usually is I used to fight back. Now I just shut down and I'm like, fuck it, I'm done with you. And I'm finding myself, even though I still love him, really losing attraction for him, because I'm not experiencing any level of like masculine calm and groundedness. I feel like I have to be the guy who's bringing the calm, and it's just
yeah, for sure. And this, so I think I get it. And I'm going to come at it from a few different
Yeah.
angles, and you tell me which, take what you like. Anything I say here, by the way, guys, is my best shot. I don't claim to have all the answers. I'm just a guy who, is in a relationship practice nerd, right? Who tries to live this stuff. So please take what I say loosely. I may say something totally fucking different tomorrow because this is all just, I'm growing, you're growing, but this is just my best shot. Okay, cool.
Thank you.
Cool. So, the first thing that came to me is, yeah, of course, it's natural that you'd lose attraction. Okay. The second thing that came to me is, wow, it sounds like you need some just really clear, loving boundaries. Like, when you yell at me like this, I'm going to leave the room, and then let me know when you're calm and I'll come back. I'm going to go to my own house. I don't know if you guys live together or you live separate.
No.
Okay, good. So when you do this, I'm going to leave. And you let him know, like, I don't feel it's serving us at all, me or you, for me to stay here and let you yell at me like that. I actually had to break up with a partner for 3 weeks because of that. And I said, we have to do intentional dialogues, which is the imago therapy thing, which you can get, we have a video of me doing it. I think Nicolette can put it in the chat.
Okay.
We have to do imago dialogues, or we have to separate. Like,
Right.
staying in this toxic thing, I just can't do it. So the next time you yell at me, just know, my love, I'm going to be leaving. I'm going to say, hey, can you please calm down? And then if you don't, I'm going to leave. And when you're calm, we can talk. That's a healthy, I would call that a healthy, David would call that second stage approach to healthy relating, right? Okay, hopefully this works for everybody else. This is true with all boundaries. All boundaries are meant to protect not just you, but them and the relationship. Both,
Right.
all of it. Yeah. So there's that. Now, that when you do that, you are making a karmic up leveling. Can you feel that? Okay. Good.
Yeah.
So, but there's another level of karmic up level. Now, if you've had any sort of abuse in your history or parents, okay, there you go. So this karma that comes from a while ago is kind of playing out in your current relationship. This happens all the time. You're not doing anything wrong, right? You know what I mean? Like, this happens. However, you are responsible, being an adult, very capable woman, of consciously trying to bring new choices versus the habitual shutdown, fuck off, I don't want to be around you. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you love him, and if he is a good man who's just, who's dealing with some shit, could you envision a way that you used in the moment where things start to elevate? So as things start to elevate, narrate for me what happens in your body. Like, he's not yelling yet. He's not off his rocker yet, but things are just starting to get hot.
It's a double-sided thing. There's a part of me that goes, oh shit, here we go again. And I have this internal eye roll, almost like this dynamic is playing itself out again.
Great. So we're going to call that a closure. Yeah. Right? We're going to call it, your thoughts go inward.
Yes.
Right? There's something that tightens in your body, right? That's a closure. And there's judgment attached to it. And then he can feel the judgment. You know what I mean? So there's a closure with judgment. Those are the best, right? Those are the best. Men love those. Men love those closures. So a closure with judgment. And probably a lot of past resentment. That's great. That's a beautiful cocktail.
Yeah.
So can you imagine that contributes to him feeling hopeless and frustrated, and when he feels that? Okay.
Totally.
So that's the karma of the dynamic of you two. I'm not saying that's your fault at all. It's not. It's a dynamic that you guys have chosen to fall into because of your parents and your programming. You chose each other to play this shit out. Yay. Okay. So here it is, the moment it's starting to get hot, you can feel it. Now, could you imagine in that moment before things devolve that you soften your heart and you go to him and you might love him with your hands? Like, you might say, no need to get upset, my love. I'm here with you. I'm on your side. No, you might stroke the energy down right? Because the energy rises when he gets upset. Yes.
Right. Yes.
Yes. So you might stroke his chest and go, I'm here with you. Like, we don't need to fight. I love you. Right. And you just might soften your heart and try that. You might, before he gets, okay. So the moment you do that, have you made a different karmic decision?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, if you do that and he's like, ugh, and he pushes you away and he starts a blah, blah, then you say, well, I gave you my loving, but hold it for a little bit, like give him more than 5 seconds or 10 seconds, you know what I mean? Like give him a little time to like use your body as an instrument of healing him in that moment. That's a loving choice. Now, you may not want to make that choice and that's up to you. Right? It's a choice, but it seems like you love him and you want to try your best. And if you do that in that moment, and things soften and you just stay kind of rubbing his belly, rubbing his legs, all of this is bringing the energy down, right? Looking into his eyes, softening your heart. I love you. I'm here with you. I love you. I'm here with you. Love you. Right. Don't hate the woman who loves you. Don't be angry at the woman who loves you. I mean, all these things, could you imagine that he would soften? Yeah. So right there, you've made it, you're changing karma. You're changing karma, and there's a whole new bevy of possibilities between you two that weren't there if you did the same thing you always did. There could be lovemaking, there could be a kiss, there could be crying, there could be there could be apologies, there could be any number of things, right? And
Right.
if you've tried that and he rejects it and still gets nasty, then you bow because you made a very important boundary and you say, I love you. I'll see you in a couple of days. Right. Or please don't contact me till tomorrow. Let's just take the rest of the day, whatever it is. So
Right.
those two things are a healthy approach. And let's call it a sacred approach. Those of you who are in the men's and women's programs, because I noticed there are a few of you here, this is exactly what we were talking about in this module, right? This moment is perfect, right? This is selfish to sacred. Not that closure is selfish, but it's a program. You know what I mean? It's that programming. I'm going to protect myself.
Right.
To the sacred. Here's my love. I'm here with you. So I'm going to stop there. Are there any questions that you have about that, or does that feel like something that you can start to work with?
No, that feels like definitely something I could start to work with. And my only question would be just on a selfish level for my own, for myself, would something like that, do you think, help bring back that attraction?
Yeah.
For him, if I'm feeling, because I'll notice him de-escalating and having a different response if he responds the way
Well, yeah, it certainly will help. It's
okay.
So the what creates the polarity, right? So the moment that you say, okay, I'm shutting down and I'm taking charge of my own body and heart, right? Which is probably a healthy decision when he's losing his shit. So nothing wrong with that. But the moment you do that, you're in the masculine, right? And so there'll be a reverse polarity. Boom, it happens. He's now emoting. His body's creating estrogen, by the way. An angry man creates estrogen, by the way. So he's now literally becoming more feminine hormonally, right? And you're exiting, so you've now polarized it. But if you soften your heart and you give love, you're now in a sacred feminine position. And you get to see what that evokes. And over the course of a few weeks or a few months, if you really want to try it to see if it changes, over the course of a few weeks or a few months, you'll see, does this evoke something different from him? It might be immediate. It might be immediate. He might just take a deep breath and go, I'm so sorry. Thank you. Love. I'm so sorry. That's, he might. And you might have to have a deeper conversation with him about like what you would need to, and this is, I'm going to extrapolate this out for any feminine partner who's lost attraction for their masculine partner. You may have to have a conversation about what I would need in order to trust you with my heart and body forever. I would need you to find a way to deal with your anxiety. I would need you to not dump your anger on me. I would need you to breathe deeper into, I would need you to learn to ground yourself.
Right.
Right. And can you see that you're now giving him information and feedback that would make him a better man, not just for you, but for his child and for the world?
Absolutely.
Right, right. So this commitment to sharing truth, to loving more, to sharing truth, to setting boundaries actually serves him and you.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. And his son, and you're probably your friends and everybody who knows you, and like everybody has to deal with the drama, you know what I mean? Relationships ripple out. When
Yes,
our
they do.
relationships are filled with sort of abusive toxicity and drama, it fucks other people up. I'm not judging at all. I've certainly been there, but I just think it's important for us to recognize, like, hey, the decisions we make in our relationships, they're not just in our own little bubble. They like impact people. They impact our communities and our children, So, okay, I don't want to give you too much. So, but I think that gives you something to work with.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Good
Thanks.
luck, Christina. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Christina.
Thank you.
Next, we have Erlene. Erlene, you can go ahead and unmute yourself.
Erlen, mi hermano, ¿cómo estamos?
¿Qué tal, John?
Mm.
Nicolette?
¿Qué tal? Bien, bien, muy bien.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody. It's good to be here. Thank you for this space.
Mm.
I have two part of this sharing. What's alive right now is, oh man, I try to see about that topic, karma. So karma and part of life, right? So the past 3 months, I have been experiencing the other sides of the reality of life. I lost my dad last December.
Mm.
And I know I'm close to my dad, but then after he left, I was strong from family. The past couple of weeks, it's been really bad, really hard for me. It just like there is nothing makes sense anymore.
Mm.
I'm open to share this because I know you experience with your daughter. I really deeply love my dad because I grew up with him. He's my grandfather. A lot of experience, a lot of fun moments, a lot of teaching, being just with life.
Mm.
And there is no day has passed by since then I haven't cried, man.
Yeah. And what's wrong with that?
I'm tired. I'm tired. I'm tired. I like feel like there is part of me being taken, or just because my heart is so small and that experience and that love, that compassion I have with my dad is so much that when the waves of emotional experience hit me, just like I don't know how to take it. I don't know, like.
Right. Okay. So I want to hone in on this. Okay. So I think what you're describing is that you're in the grieving process, brother. You're right. And he's what, 3 months ago? You said December. So it's a few months ago. Yeah. Okay. So you're right smack dab in the middle of the grieving process. And like my relationship with my daughter, it sounds like your relationship with your father was very deep. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So probably the deepest the deepest masculine relationship that you've ever had. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So it's going to take a while to work that through. And you're going to be in the grieving process. So I guess the first thing that I want to say is normalizing the fact that grief is going to take a while. I was just, I mean, Claire's been gone over a couple years, and I've just come to the realization that there's just always going to be ache, waves of pain, waves of grief that feel like they knock me down, and I just have to hit the ground for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, let it out, let it out, let it out. On yesterday, today's Tuesday, yesterday, I was with a teacher of mine, good half an hour of crying, just very deep grief yesterday. And this is 2.5 years in, bro, right? Because she was the love of my life. And there's never going to be another Claire. And I sense that you have a very deep love with your dad. So what I'm trying to say is there's no rushing it, man. You can't, there's a surrender to it. There's a surrender to it and a clearing of space for it, right? So that's the meta.
Can you speak a little bit more about that? What does that mean? Clearing space more?
Yeah. So it's like you basically broken your leg. So your leg is broken in multiple places, really bad leg break. And there's certain things you're just not going to be able to do. You're not going to be able to work long days. You're not going to be able to, you're not going to be able to hike up a mountain. You're going to need space to nourish yourself and to go through the process of really grieving your father. Okay. And so that takes space. You can't, I worked a lot the first year Claire died. I certainly felt it, and I certainly had, but my business doubled and all this stuff happened. And so it took me a while to actually get to where I am now, which is having the space to really feel the depth of grief that I carry. So you need space. Schedule. You need actually space. So for me, it was, I need mornings. I need mornings free. So, and now I needed to go away for 2 months and just be by myself. That's the space I cleared to take responsibility for my own grief. So let me just give you that, like the meta piece about what I've learned about grieving. And again, this is my best shot, bro. But it feels like you have a very deep, you're sad, you're heartbroken. Life will never be the same. Your father's gone, the man you love the most in the world, the man who guided you, the man who you relied on. That's never going to be okay. So there's that. Now, when you grieve, you can feel the part of you that's grieving, that's just collapsed. Yeah. Like snot, crying, shuddering, just sadness embodied. Yes. You can feel that part of you.
Right.
Okay. Can you also feel consciousness feeling that?
I do.
So you might call it God. So, call it whatever you want, whatever you guys call God, but grieving, feeling the grief, and then feeling consciousness, feeling the grief, wrapping you while you grieve. It's a combination of consciousness, the masculine, holding you, the universal masculine, and you in the complete feeling body, the feminine, the complete feeling, only feeling. But if you're only feeling and you're not grounded or you're not aware of consciousness, it's very easy to lose connection to the moment, if you know what I mean.
I do. Yeah, I definitely do.
Yeah. So when you're grieving, I would create space, man. When the grief comes, what I've done is I've actually had somebody who's walked, I've actually hired a teacher to take me through a whole process. So he's the masculine. And I fall apart and he holds consciousness for me. Right. And the moments where he's not around, I just feel consciousness holding me and I let myself grieve. So all of that to say is that you've got to take responsibility for your own feminine, your grief. That's your own feminine. Your broken heart, that's your own feminine. By creating containers, by creating consciousness, and by using, let's call it the universal masculine or your own masculine to hold that, or hire somebody else. Like you could hire me and say, okay, John, like you're just going to help walk me through this grieving process. And we'll spend an hour a week with you just crying and stomping and telling me about your dad and telling me everything you loved about him and your favorite moments. And I would hold that for you, or somebody else. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that's you taking care of your grief, not trying to get over it or get through it.
Right. Makes sense. And what's been helping me, I do renovations. So I'm grateful for my coworkers, friends, brother.
Mm-hmm.
They know what I'm going through, and what being really good is just like smashing all those cabinets, just like totally demolishing that entire place. And yeah, and well, they give me a space. I would just like really cry after that. So it's well, it's not being healing because I want this to stop.
Yeah, and that's the part where good luck, man. It's just not gonna. You're way too early. You're way too early. Yeah. So I feeling feeling the time going through this. Maybe you'll finish it in a few months. My experience, and it's different for a parent versus a child, obviously, but my experience was, 6 months in, I thought I cleared most of it. A year in, I thought, oh, that must be all of it. A year and a half, oh shit, like there's more. Fuck. Okay, 2 years in, like, come on, it's 2 years. Shouldn't I be done with this already? And now it is 2.5 years. And I was a puddle yesterday. So it is what it is, man. And your masculine wants things to end. Remember, the masculine wants things to end. The feminine does not give a shit about, so your heart that's grieving is just like, fuck you, and then I'm going to grieve until I'm done grieving. And the part of you that wants it to end is the part of you that will want your feminine partner to stop crying. I'm just saying, eventually you'll be like, come on, baby, like you're still mad at me, or come on, you're still sad. So I'm just saying that to widen it out for other people. So you get that the masculine in us wants it to end. But the deeper practice, the deeper masculine practice is to bring awareness, consciousness to hold what's true. And I think just by a show of hands, can everybody feel how much grief there still is? Yeah. So what's true is that you're grieving, and finding a way to bring a conscious, sacred, healthy, masculine container, whether it's your own, whether it's other people's, that would be your practice. Your karma, since I'm just going to keep tying this in, your karma will be to kind of push yourself to finish it, get over it, man up. That
Right.
will be kind of the habitual reaction. That will be the habitual thing.
Yeah, I have this practice with my men's group. They gave me the practice of feeling that moment when I don't have control of life, like what I have to decide how life is gonna go. and just feeling that hopeless, feeling powerless, and feeling sadness because I don't have that.
Right.
And
Right.
that's been really, it's been unpleasant. It's not been really good. And I do that every day. But has
So
to
good. So my only addition to that, I think that's a fucking beautiful practice, and I think every human should do that in some form or fashion. The only thing I want to add to that is make it a meditation. Two ways to make it a meditation, and this is for everybody who's grieving. Two ways to make it a meditation. One is wrap it in consciousness, like literally feel consciousness pressing in on you while you're wailing. Second way is to feel this, go deep into the sensation. So let's imagine you're having that sensation of feeling hopeless, of feeling out of control, of feeling absolutely heartbroken. Okay. So underneath that is a current of life. Yes. The current of life gives form to that. Okay. So going into the sensation of that current of life and the emotions with no thought. That's the other way to make it a meditation. So two ways to make grief a meditation: all sensation, no thought; all sensation wrapped in consciousness.
thank you. And also setting the other thing, like there's a moment like I just laugh out loud because after that I had an accident. Then that was like really, it just like it takes seeing myself, like I fucking love my smile, I love myself, but seeing part of myself missing, it was like I'm okay now, but it was like shocking. Then after that, our dog died last week, and I was like, just like I've been taking so much, I just like I should say, like I just want things to end.
Yeah, they're not gonna. So I'm gonna leave you there because I have a bunch of other questions, but my heart is with you, man. And I think just keep creating space for your grief to be okay.
Last question. This is very important about closure. Very, it's
Okay.
gonna be fast.
Okay.
I meet
Fast.
phenomenal lady last year. Lockdown was the best year I ever had in my life. So we end up this relationship because I was like after my dad. So I show up that night with her. I
Okay.
didn't.
So what's get your question, bro? What's the question about closure?
I well, we end up that relationship. So
Okay.
she sent me a voice text saying, "Hey, listen, I have this pack coaching. I have this package about coaching, and that will be help you." So that moment when I hear that, it just like my heart really like come.
So do you want this to end or you not want this to end? You wanted it to end?
I did not want to end, but what
You,
happened when I hear
so,
that?
so hold on. Let me ask you some questions. You did not want it to end,
No,
but she did.
she did.
Okay. Um, and you guys are still in contact
I
a little
have
bit? Okay. So that is also what you're grieving, obviously. So you're grieving loss on two very big ways. So it's the same thing. Leave her alone. Don't contact her. You don't need, I mean, if you want to take the coaching package, take the coaching package. But for the most part, if she wanted to end it, then bow, wish her the best. I know you've already done this, like bless her. I want you to find the right man for you. I bless you on your way, and grieve her as well, bro. So you're right in the middle of two big ass grief. Good, good luck. It's just gonna be some time.
so
So I don't think you need closure if she ended it.
right. This is what I felt with my heart. So I felt my heart was like really when I hear that voice, the text voice, my heart was like ready. It's like a mango ready to melt. Then when I hear the voice text, it just like can shrink, and I feel like get cold. So it's like, no, this is not.
Yeah, so yeah, that's what happens when a person who left us calls us and leaves us a voice memo. Our heart breaks again. So you're struggling to understand. Here's what I see, and again, I don't have a lot of time, but here's what I see. You're struggling to try to make sense of grief and loss when there's really not much to make sense of other than feeling it. I mean, a woman you love left and your dad died. You're going to be sad as hell for a while. And I would just try not to rush that. Be with that. Be with that. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah. So sorry for your loss.
Thank you. Okay, I think we have time for one more, about 15 minutes, and we'll go to Linnell.
I had to do sparkle fingers just because Nicole. I love that. That was funny. A couple of months ago, John, I asked for your advice on how to relate better to a man with less structure, less financially successful in one of our community calls. And you gave me some beautiful advice in that call. And one of those things was to honor that I may need a man with more structure. I'm currently not in a partnership at the moment. So thank you for that freedom for me now to accept that. And I really have sat with that. And that was beautiful for me to finally come to that. I wanted to follow up with that question because in that response you gave me, you said I should practice showing my hot mess side more and less rigidity and less, structure that I bring, being an entrepreneur, I'm in business masculine all day. My question today is asking for your guidance on.
Linnell, I'm not hearing you. Linnell, I'm not hearing you, my love. Maybe you could kill your video and I could just hear your question. Nicolette, can you help? Okay. Now let's try it.
My internet.
Yeah, your internet's not working, my love.
Okay.
You want to try and talk?
Not sure what you heard.
Okay, no, I didn't hear much. Like your question about, I heard my advice to you is to be a hot mess, and then you started cutting out.
Okay, so the question is asking for your advice on the subtlety between showing my hot mess and collapse.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's a great question. Great question. A collapse, and since hopefully you can see me, right? So a collapse tends to be closing. Like there's literally a folding in around the center line between your throat and your perineum. You know what I'm talking about? You can feel that center line between your throat and your cervix, mainly if you're a woman, or your perineum, right? So closure tends to be a tension through the center, through the front and center of the body. Okay. Hot mess is an artistic practice to open, right? So there's an openness. So feel the difference between like a closure, which could be even a subtle, like, and can you give me an example? Like what are you talking about? Like when you on a date or?
Let's say there's an ouch in time with a man, and instead of me just shutting that down and holding it to not reveal my open heart.
Right.
Yeah. Or, I might feel a wave of emotion and tears come and expressing that and feeling open to show my soft vulnerability, but at the same time, it being from a place of open heart, not closure where I'm like sobbing and weeping out of like.
Well, again, closure happens. You got to think of the body, right? So let's think of the body between this center column, right? I don't know how esoteric we want to get, but if we want to go into we want to go into energetic, Taoist principles, right? There's spirals of energy that basically kind of circle the center column of our bodies, right? There's spirals on the left side, spirals on the right side. Then there's a big spiral of energy. When we close, literally the energy folds in on the center line. And sometimes it's very subtle, okay? When we open, energy kind of expands out. So it's less about what you say versus how you express it. So think of it this way. This is a good way to do it. Nicolette, can you mute whoever is unmuted, please?
That is Linnell.
Okay, Linnell.
Linnell, will you mute yourself?
All right. So what's going on here?
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Okay. Okay. All right. So when think of it this way, when you reveal the truth of your heart, it's an outward extension of energy, like a flower opening, or like a sun radiating out, versus closing and projecting, which tends to be a closure in and a projection forward. Can you see what I'm doing here with my body? Okay. That's how you can start to practice. My best advice is come to a workshop because it's easy to talk about this stuff esoterically, but when you see it, when you do it, and somebody can see you doing it and you can see them respond, that's when you can really learn, like, oh, that's what that feels like in my body. So when we have workshops again, we've had a couple online, but when we have another one, come to a workshop and practice. Because this is not the kind of thing that's, it's like I'm describing a yoga to you, and I could describe some yogic pose to you, but until you do the yogic pose, you don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, really. I mean, you kind of have a sense, but not really. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. I did the 3-day Art of Spiritual Intimacy, and I'm
Great.
joining in with the Dear Lover that David Dayett is doing. I was just talking with Lisa today.
Great. So did you get this point about expanding out versus closing in?
I love that image. The flower sun image really helps me visualize that.
Yeah, and then I would worry less about like the content of it. So one of the great things that Lisa and Nina always teach, and I think this is wonderful, is just this really beautiful softening, right? If you both soften and then widen or reveal versus, project is forward, reveal is, but if you soften and then reveal, then virtually anything that comes out, my guess is you might judge your hot mess.
I do.
Yeah. Okay.
I think, it's
so somebody,
is
so
it too
that,
much?
So that's your karma.
Things can.
So that's the karma. I'm going to keep tying it in. So somebody taught you that your emotional expression was not welcome, right? And that love would be taken away. And so you just made that karmic choice, like, okay, I'm going to be more achievement driven, right? And here you are, wanting to reverse that karma, which is great. But so the moment that you can just, worst case scenario, if you just narrate like, oh my God, my heart is fluttering and I just want to jump out of my skin and I feel like waving my arms around and running around like a crazy woman, and I just want to jump on you and scratch your eyes out and kiss you, and I don't know what to do, right? Now you're at least narrating your hot mess, right?
That's good. I love that.
Yeah. And maybe that's a nice intermediate step, right? Now, if you do that while you're closing and projecting, it'll occur like an attack to him. But if you do that while keeping your heart open and soft and you're feeling outward, then it will occur like a gift.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome, Linnell. I'm glad we could work out the internet. Okay. Nicolette?
We're going to take a 3-minute break. And in that time, yes, a pee break. And in that time, grab a journal. And so bring a journal or something to write with you when you come back. So we'll be back at 6 after the hour. Okay, welcome back, everybody. You sure you have your writing utensils? Great, beautiful. And we'll get started in just a moment here.
Nicolette, let me just check the sound real quick for the music.
Mhm.
Yeah? Feel good? You can hear me?
I hear you, but I don't hear the music.
Okay, so now do you hear me? Hear the music?
Yes.
Okay, both. Okay, good. More, you could hear, take more, you can take more volume?
More music.
Okay,
a little
good.
bit more.
All right, cool. All right. Okay, you ready to go?
Yeah, we're ready.
All right. Okay, just want to make sure everybody got the pee break they needed. All right, so what I want you to do, guys, we've talked about a few habits. We've talked about a few habits. You've seen a few habits in the way that they show up in our relationships, right? Closing down, not knowing, withholding your heart, all these things. We've talked about it a few times. Judging yourself, that happens. That's a part of judging yourself is a closure. It's a closure. I want you to write, we're going to take 2 minutes, and I just want you to focus on one or two, no more than two, patterns that you want to shift. This is a pattern that happens all the time. It's a pattern you see, you know, your partner. I think Maddie talked about it really good, that there's a complaint and then boom, I close and I get annoyed, right? That's the pattern. So what's the pattern in your life or relationship life that you want to shift, that is the expression of your karmic choice? I'm going to give you another 90 seconds to do that. Nicolette's going to time, since she's the keeper of time and space.
I get it. Okay, 30 seconds left. And that is time. Pencils down.
All right. Okay, now putting that aside, close your eyes. Plant your feet into the ground if that's available to you. Begin to deepen your breath. And take your awareness now beneath the reaction, beneath the habitual closure, beneath the thought loop. And see if you can feel what is wanting to be expressed beneath. What's the truth that is driving the karmic response or the habitual response? Is it, like I talked about with Maddie, is it something is it a deeper heartbreak? Is it a deeper yearning? Is it a deeper longing? Is it a deeper need for expression? What's wanting to move through you at a deeper level? So just keeping your eyes closed. Don't write anything yet. Just be with it. But take your awareness now deeper into your heart. Feel what's beneath the pattern. What's the deeper experience? What's the deeper cut? What's the deeper energy? What's the deeper truth? Another 30 seconds like this. Is there sadness? Is there frustration? Is there hopelessness? Maybe like Erlen, there's a hopelessness that he just wanted to end. What's wanting to happen? To the best of your ability. You might not be totally clear. These things are karmic for a reason. They're not always super obvious, but just trust your intuition in this moment. And then go ahead and take the next minute and write down what is wanting to move through you beneath the pattern, beneath the habit. What's the deeper truth? Good. Good. Take another 30 seconds. What's the deeper truth that's wanting to move through you? The deeper feeling, the deeper experience that's beyond the pattern. Is it heartbreak? Is it feeling trapped? Is it longing for love? Most of the time, there's some feeling that's beneath the habitual closure. Okay. So I just want to take a couple examples here. So Nicolette, they can raise their hand, and here's what I want to hear. What's the pattern? 2 or 3 sentences. No stories, just 2 or 3 sentences. What's the pattern? And what's the deeper truth?
All right, Deirdre.
Okay, so the pattern is hiding my hot mess, hiding my closure when I feel intense emotion, no matter what it is. And underneath that is a longing for love, and also feeling trapped in silence.
Would you say that there's sort of what's wanting to move through you is this like full expression of longing for love? So full expression feels like the thing? Is that
Yes.
Okay, good. Great. Perfect. Perfect.
Thank you.
One more.
All right, Daryl.
Hello. So the pattern is wanting to express something in particular to a partner, particularly a challenge or something that I'm frustrated with inside of the relationship, and expressing that as responsibly as possible, and then oftentimes not being received and being met with defensiveness and or some closure. And what happens is I then go to a place of frustration, which is underneath it is heartbreak.
Okay, so she reacts defensively. You close.
Yes.
That's the okay. Great. So you share a truth, she reacts defensively, you close.
Yes.
Okay, and what wants to move beneath that, what wants to be expressed through that is a sadness.
Deep sadness, heartbreak.
Deep sadness and heartbreak.
Wanting to
Okay.
be held and received in that.
Okay. Okay. Great. One more. We'll do one more.
Okay, Shannon. Shannon, we're not hearing you. I see you moving. Yeah. Okay. If you get your volume going, we'll try again another afterwards.
One more before we do this practice.
All right. So next we will go to Amanda Rose.
Did I do
Oh,
it?
Shannon, I think we got you. Shannon, go ahead.
Sorry.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, Shannon. We got you.
Okay. My pattern, I pendulum from like oversharing or complete suppression. And I think the underneath truth is like just a genuine desire to fully express without inhibiting anything, and not feel like I'm not doing it right, you know?
Got it. Got it. Got it. So either blasting out or closing, and
Yeah.
there's a full expression that wants to happen without closure. So oversharing is mental, yeah, not necessarily expressive. Am I getting that right?
Yeah.
So the habit is to kind of go mental, either go mental by talking about it or go mental by turning inward. Am I getting that right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. It's just important to like, kind of feel these distinctions, right? And the expression is more body. Is that right? More full
Yeah.
body. Okay.
Sure. Yeah.
Is that true? I don't want to
It
put
is.
words in your mouth.
It is. No, I'm very stuck in my head a lot of the time. I
Great.
judge,
Okay. So
I
that's
judge
that. So
myself.
There you go. So that's the habit, right? That's the karmic habit, is to go into your head and want to talk about it, or to go into your head and like have a conversation inside your head, which we all
Literally,
do,
yeah.
which we all do. Okay, good. Okay. So that is a karmic anybody else have that karmic pattern? Like, I'm gonna figure out what's going on here by myself with myself, right? Okay. Okay. That's a karmic pattern. It's just important for me to like keep pointing out the way that these things show up. Like, we don't think of it that way. Like, that's
I
actually
know.
a karmic pattern, to go inward and think about stuff when somebody's right in front of us. Okay. Okay, great. Thank you, Shannon. All right. So everybody go ahead and get into a posture. You can be seated or you can be standing. It's whatever's comfortable for you. You're going to put your notebook down and just get into a nice, upright, powerful, available position. You can have your eyes closed. You can have your camera on or off. You just need to be able to hear me. Okay. And I'm going to want you to keep your eyes are going to be closed for the next, let's call it 7 minutes. Not going to be forever, just let's say 7 minutes. All right. Good. Begin to deepen your breath. I'm going to give you some music to help with this. So just deepen your breath and land in this moment a little more fully. And bring to mind the habitual response. Bring to mind the habitual response. Try not to jump out of the moment. Just go to the habitual response and bring it to mind. And then I want you to now to begin to slowly let your body start to take the shape of your habitual response. Imagine that maybe you collapsed a little in the center, maybe your head drops, maybe your breath gets a little more shallow, maybe you have certain thoughts. So consciously, for 30 seconds, you're just going to take the shape of the habitual karmic pattern. You're going to let your body almost be a caricature of it. There's a short period of time. I want you to go in more, go in all the way to the point where it's almost a little ridiculous. You're so twisted up in your karmic pattern. Keep going, another few seconds. Let yourself fully experience the exaggerated karmic pattern, the way your body closes, the way maybe you say something, maybe there's something that you say all the time. Stop complaining. Or there's something you say to yourself. Just let yourself, another 10 seconds, be the karmic pattern. Let your body be the pattern. Keep going, go. Turn it up. Last 5 seconds, turn it up. Great. And then relax that. And then allow your body now, just your body, to begin to, your shoulders to expand out to the sides, your feet to press into the earth, your breath to deepen. And imagine now that your body is expanding open from the center of your heart, from the center of your spine, as the deeper expression of what wants to move through you. So your eyes are closed, nobody's looking at you. What's the shape of your full expression? Maybe your hands come up. What's the shape of your deepest heart's truth? Proudly owned. What's the shape? How would your body take the shape? Just for a few moments now, let your body take the shape, and I want you to imagine that you're bringing this now to the habitual moment. You're bringing a deeper love. You're bringing the part of you that would stroke his chest and ground him with love. You're bringing softer eyes. You're bringing more understanding. You're bringing that new, you're bringing full expression. You're bringing your hot mess. And so just for the next 30 seconds, really breathe in. And then as you exhale, maybe you let your body widen more and take even more of the shape. Again, nobody's looking, you're all good. It's just you and your nervous system expanding in a new possibility. Let your body now amplify it, almost make it like a caricature of your love or a caricature of your full expression. And turn it up just for these last 10 seconds. Turn it up, turn it up. Become even more capable of holding her complaint. Be more loving. Be more generous, more expressive, more grounded, more wide, more revealing. More of a hot mess that's just totally content with her hot messness, whatever it looks like. And then allowing your body now to relax. Just coming into a strong meditative pose. But don't drop the practice. Let your body now sit tall and feel the practice internally, like you're not moving so much, maybe just a little bit, but you can feel it in your heart. You can feel it in your belly. You can feel it in your throat. The center of your body is now living this new possibility. Just take a few seconds now and notice what might be wider in you, what might be deeper in you. What might be more relaxed or more open, more loving in you. And then soften. Let everything except your spine get very soft. Let everything except your spine settle into this moment. Let your heart soften. Let your belly soften. Let your shoulders soften. Let your jaw soften. Take 3 more deep breaths. And just bookmark this now in your nervous system. You've just installed a new possibility. You've just installed in your nervous system and your body a new possibility of reacting differently. Just bookmark it. Breathe it a little deeper into your spine. Give yourself and anybody else involved in this practice a bow, maybe your partner who isn't here. Thank them for participating via the ethers. Good. So let's just take 2 shares about what you noticed was different in your body as you moved into this. So my heart was more open, my throat was more open, my jaw was relaxed. What did you notice in your body? I felt more spacious internally. And Nicolette, just calling a couple people.
All right, Stacy Ray.
Hi. Thanks, John. This is really great to participate. This is my first time participating. For me, what I noticed immediately was that after feeling that intense closeness, I really felt my body close in, my shoulders turn in. In the opening, it was my whole body from my jaw softened, my shoulders released down. I felt a calmness in my stomach and, you know, smiling, laughing, tears.
Good.
It felt really
Perfect.
good to.
Now you just need to do that 6 times a day for the rest of your life.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
You're welcome. Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Stacy. Okay, Amanda Rose, we're gonna give you a chance now.
Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
So what I noticed, my pattern is holding back like deep, raw, tender vulnerability from, and underneath that is a really deep fear of losing love. And so in that practice, what I noticed is as I took the posture of being open and being with that fear, I was crying, but it was very much like, I can hold this. I can hold myself in this fear of losing love and not collapse, which is really powerful for me because I'm very much the collapse or hide. Like
Right. So just same thing that I just said. I know this sounds simple, but you're retraining your nervous system after thousands, if not tens of thousands of closures. Tens of fucking thousands of closures. You need to, there needs to be a opposite movement. It's like physical therapy for your soul. And so I'm not understating this. And hopefully as you do that, you'll literally find that you're transmitting a different possibility to that moment and your partner will feel it. I guarantee it. And you will evoke a better solution than the one that's, if you keep at it, if you don't try it and you just, if you keep at it and you hold the pose as long as you possibly can, it's physics, it's law. So I hope this was helpful for you guys. It's a pleasure to be here with you and to witness your practice and hear your questions. Thank you for trusting us with this. Thank you for supporting Claire's Place Foundation. And I'll turn it over to Nicolette.
Okay, thank you, everyone. See, I'm gonna go to gallery view so I can see myself. All right, so thank you all so much for being here. I'm gonna put the link for Claire's Place Foundation back in the chat if you'd like to donate. Put that in there right now. So again, we're not gonna be here next month, but we'll be back in June. So 1 month off. You can join our virtual, I'm gonna put the virtual workshop link in the chat. If you wanna join the virtual workshop, we've got an office hours next Tuesday at 11 a.m. Pacific time, and you can join with a 1 week free trial. So if you're really craving some community, you can join our office hours call next Tuesday and also enjoy some of the content for a week. If you're members of the virtual workshop, hope to see you next week. And otherwise, we will see you in June. All right, take care, everyone. See you all soon.